Hello and a very warm welcome to Science Monitor. Through this program, we bring to you all the significant developments that are happening in India in the field of science, technology, research and innovation. Amid the COVID-19 crisis, we are trying our best to bring to you all the science and technology efforts of India to minimize the impact of the pandemic. In today's episode, we'll focus on the celebration of the National Technology Day and on the genome sequencing of the novel coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2. So let's begin with the headlines. National Technology Day celebrated on 11th of May. High-level digital conference organized to bring together scientists, policymakers and industry representatives. Participants of the digital conference highlight Indian S&T solutions to tackle COVID-19 and also to revive the economy. And India working successfully on genome sequencing of novel coronavirus. Many labs of CSIR and NCDC involved in the project. And now the information in detail. COVID-19 crisis has once again highlighted the importance of technology in our lives. Technology is not only essential to tackle the pandemic, but also to revive our economy, which has really suffered due to the lockdown. Keeping in mind the need of the hour, National Technology Day was celebrated by organizing a digital conference to focus on the technological solutions towards the end. Let's see this report.
To celebrate the National Technology Day, a high-level digital conference was organized on 11th May. The theme of the conference, organized by the Technology Development Board, a statutory body of the Department of Science and Technology and the Confederation of Indian Industry, was Restart, rebooting the economy through science, technology and research translations. On this occasion, a virtual exposition was also organized, showcasing different products developed by the industry to tackle the pandemic. On 11th May 1998, India achieved a major technological breakthrough by successfully carrying out nuclear tests at Pokhran. Since 1999, the day is celebrated not only to commemorate India's technological advancements, but also to identify and deliberate on right technologies that can lead India into future by addressing its needs and fulfilling its ambitions. The digital conference held during the COVID-19 crisis brought together scientists, technocrats, policymakers and industry representatives who pondered over the current situation and the S&T solutions for the future.
Addressing the inaugural session of the digital conference on the occasion of National Technology Day, Union Minister of Science and Technology, Health and Family Welfare and Earth Sciences, Dr. Harshvardhan applauded the collaborative spirit of the entire S&T ecosystem of the country to fight the COVID-19 and stressed on mitigating the widespread economic impact.
Within a short period of time, India has been able to mobilize thousands of researchers in the country to work round the clock to develop new testing kits, protective equipment and respiratory devices, etc. Our government has vigorously activated the Make in India program and involved various R&D institutions of the country in manufacturing the COVID-19 testing kits, masks, alcohol-based sanitizers, personal protective equipments, rest materials for frontline health workers, ventilators, breathing devices for the patients. I am therefore extremely happy that the theme chosen for this year's Technology Day is Restart, reboot the economy through science, technology and research translations. Yes, we indeed need to mitigate the widespread economic impact and prepare for a stronger recovery using self-reliance as the new mantra, and looking for new opportunities to galvanize the growth in technological and industrial sector. On this day, I would like to congratulate all the technology leaders in our country, from the industry and the academia, who have worked very hard over the years to help India attain the leadership position and more so in these testing times. I would also like to assure that, like every crisis, this too shall pass. And like always, we will bounce back and shall emerge stronger. But COVID 19 will leave behind a profound impact on our lives. Post pandemic, there would be a paradigm shift in our social structure, global and economic cooperation as well. In such a scenario, it is critical how fast we internalize the lessons, look ahead, and prepare ourselves for the world beyond the COVID 19 pandemic. To emerge stronger, India needs to strengthen building blocks of the economy as well as that of society.
Meanwhile, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor Vijay Raghavan, explained how India is making progress in different areas to combat COVID-19 and how it will go forward in these areas.
There are over 100 vaccines being developed worldwide, and there are at least 30 attempts being made in India. And these attempts in India fall into three categories, where India is participating in global attempts, where India is leading partnership in global attempts, and where Indian attempts have started from our academia and startups. Because of the time taken for developing vaccines normally is very long, multiple attempts and huge investment and parallel investment in manufacturing is needed for success. And India has risen to the occasion really well here. And no matter what the outcome is, we can be assured that Indian vaccine industry and Indian vaccine developers would have played a very important role. So this is a very good outcome. In diagnostics, the Department of Biotechnology has led collaborations with multiple other agencies to synthesize reagents required for testing in a network of laboratories. Testing has expanded hugely by this kind of a network, and new tests have been developed by several of our institutions in the CSIR, the DST, and other agencies. This signifies an extraordinary innovation and intelligence in putting together new approaches. Some of these tests are actually truly innovative. Similarly, for hospital equipment and PPE, many of our traditional manufacturers working in multiple areas have reformatted to serve the new purpose of making ventilators, oxygen delivery systems, PPE. The DRDO has partnered with the textile industry in a phenomenal manner. So this is not just for the immediate requirements. Our Ministry of IT, various government agencies such as NITI Aayog have worked in a public-private partnership model to develop contact tracing applications, which over 90 million people downloaded the Arogya Setu app. And in addition to the 3 points which Mr. Vikram Kirloskar mentioned about hygiene, wearing masks, and social distancing, testing, tracking, and tracing are very, very important to crush the disease as we go forward, and allows us to be one step ahead of the disease while we wait for a vaccine. So in summary, we have done really well in breaking a variety of barriers, coming out of our silos and going ahead. Now the challenge to us is to keep this tempo of interaction and collaboration, which has come so naturally during a crisis. We have to keep it going after the crisis and as we exit the lockdown.
Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, Deputy Director General, WHO, also participated in the conference. She stressed on the role of science and WHO in dealing with the pandemic and stated that India's participation is crucial for the development of COVID-19 vaccine.
As has been said many times, I think the way out of this pandemic is through science, because it's a new virus and we're learning something new about it every day. It is scientists who should be leading this fight, and in fact, who are leading this fight. Not just in terms of the development of diagnostics, vaccines, and drugs, but also in terms of understanding and communicating about this disease. Early on, we coined the word infodemic. The There was a pandemic due to the virus, but also an infodemic, an information epidemic. A lot of it is false and misinformation, misleading information, myths and beliefs. And that's why it's so important for science communication to be done in a way that reaches the public and where they can understand and act appropriately. A few words I would like to mention on what WHO is doing on the development of these new tools, particularly vaccines, because I believe that India will play an important role in this. In fact, the world cannot, I think, have enough vaccines for everyone if India is not part of the process. About 2 weeks ago, the WHO launched something called the ACT Accelerator, which is access to COVID tools, accelerating the development and making sure that there is access of these new tools to everyone, everywhere, regardless of their capacity to pay. Since then, there has been an online pledging event on May 4th, which was led by the President of the EU. And this pledging is open now for the next couple of weeks for countries to join. About 40 heads of state so far have pledged their involvement or their financial contribution or both in this accelerator. It brings together the private and the public sector, it brings together scientists as well as civil society in order to develop a roadmap and to really accelerate progress by addressing the bottlenecks in the development of a vaccine, which normally takes a minimum of 5 years has been the record so far for Ebola. It's more usually like 10 years that it takes to develop a vaccine from concept to when it's available. We don't have the time to wait, obviously, for 10 years or even 5 years. The aim is to get a vaccine out in a year or so, or even less if possible. It's not enough to just do the scientific part of developing and testing the vaccine. The manufacturing and scale up, procurement, supply chains, and getting health systems ready to vaccinate populations is really going to be very important. And all of these have to be done in parallel.
Meanwhile, Dr. V.K. Saraswat, member Niti Aayog, while delivering his special address, pointed out various emerging technologies, not only to manage the virus, but also to revive the economy.
I would say when you talk of lockdown economy for the cities, we need to focus on smart surveillance, location-based systems, online civic services, indoor farming, autonomous stores, and prefabricated construction systems, and the sickness mapping. These are some of the measures which you have to take as far as the lockdown of cities are concerned. When you talk of lockdown of economy for industry, our major effort should be on the real-time supply chain monitoring, fleet management for management and telematics. Autonomous vehicles will have to find place. Augmented reality and virtual reality will also be playing a major role in the years to come to solve these problems. And certainly we have to focus more and more on the digital factory. Lockdown management for individuals, certainly that's a major issue where shared streaming and entertainment has to be taken care of. We have to develop a rigorous infrastructure for remote working and loneliness management. A large number of people are suffering because of that. Stress and anxiety reduction, online learning, food and grocery delivery, indoor workout platforms, and so on. Remote healthcare is a major requirement. We can't be taking everybody to the hospitals as we are seeing today. There may be overflooding in the days to come. So we need to go for remote monitoring and telehealth and respiratory monitoring, digital stethoscopes, and mental health clinics and wearable sensors.
And speaking at the conference, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, highlighted how SNT achievements in the last 50 years are now working as SNT solutions to deal with the various aspects of COVID-19 crisis, and how these solutions will also help in reviving our activities after the lockdown.
4 Ts remain very important, and they are indeed made possible entirely by ICT, by data-driven technologies, data analytics, as well as artificial intelligence. And also going forward, if you look at zoning and looking at the containment and so on, clearly geospatial information systems are very important in terms of supply lines, managing supply lines, in terms of managing information, managing resources for the people. What are the nearest COVID hospitals, for example? What are the nearest facilities available and so on? So geospatial technologies are already playing a big role. And Survey of India, for example, is putting out these digital maps for the services which are required. So in terms of distancing and masking, it's so heartening to see that even a variety of new kind of high-tech masks have evolved in just last 2 months, despite all the constraints. These are very, very interesting ideas that I would not have got time to get into. But while opening up our industry, while opening up our markets, opening up our education, clearly disinfectants and sanitization processes would play a huge role. So these are the systems, for example, which are based on robots, remote controlled, unmanned operations, deep UV light cleaning, and a variety of those things, ionizers and so on, both for hospital use, as well as for industry use, as well as home use. So there have been many innovations, very compelling innovations that have come forward very, very quickly on this front. And this would be greatly helpful as we go back to schools, we go back to colleges, and we go back to industry and reviving our activities.
Well, now it's time for a very short break, but do stay with us. We'll be right back.
यदि आपको खांसी, बुखार, सांस लेने में तकलीफ जैसे लक्षण नहीं हैं, तो कोविड-19 की जांच की जरूरत नहीं है। यदि ये लक्षण आप में हैं और आपने हाल में किसी कोविड-19 प्रभावित देश की यात्रा की है, तो जांच जरूर करा लें। यदि आपने कोई यात्रा नहीं की लेकिन कोविड-19 ग्रसित व्यक्ति के संपर्क में आए हों, तो जांच के लिए तुरंत राज्य की हेल्पलाइन नंबर या भारत सरकार के स्वास्थ्य और परिवार कल्याण मंत्रालय की हेल्पलाइन पर संपर्क करें।
Welcome back. You are watching Science Monitor. An unseen enemy is always the most fearsome. And same is the case with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. But the advancement in the field of science and technology have given us many advantages over such enemies. One such advancement is genome sequencing. Through this process, we can get all the vital information about the composition of the virus by reading its genetic material. And this can help us immensely in finding a cure for the pandemic. In India, several laboratories of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research have achieved success in this endeavor with the help of National Center for Disease Control. Let us watch our special report to know more about the importance of this project.
The virus, which originated from the city of Wuhan, has now engulfed the whole world within a few months. Millions have lost their lives in this pandemic, and the countries are bearing the brunt of economic loss due to the lockdown. On the other hand, various efforts are underway on war footing to tackle the challenges posed by the pandemic, like rapid diagnostic kits and attempts to develop a suitable vaccine for the infection. In India, various laboratories of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research are also working on genome sequencing of the novel coronavirus. One of them is Delhi-based Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology. Scientists have been working diligently on RNA genome sequencing of the virus, and they have been successful in completing the genome sequencing of various samples.
So all these COVID genomes have a 30,000 Legos put together. Now how do they arrange those 30,000 blocks is something which makes them unique, makes them identify into different lineages and different strains. So the first thing which we did was which was initiated mainly by the dynamic leadership of our director, Dr. Anurag Agarwal, wherein he got in touch with NCDC, and NCDC has been our partner, a very proactive partner in this regard, wherein they are happy to share positive samples RNA and which we use for sequencing.
Genome sequencing is the process through which the scientists determine the entire sequence of an organism's genetic material, which is usually composed of DNA and sometimes of RNA or ribonucleic acid, as in the case of novel coronavirus. Genetic material stores all the biological traits of an organism. Therefore, it can reveal a lot of useful information about the organism's origin and its composition. Genome sequencing helps in identifying mutations, is useful for predicting diseases, and also for designing a cure for them. So far, the scientists at IGIB have been able to complete 104 sequencing of this virus. National Center for Disease Control has played an important role in this endeavor by providing to the researchers positive samples from different parts of the country.
This sequencing project is undertaken together with the CSIR, and with that we will try to understand the whole the genome of the particular virus which is circulating in the Indian subcontinent in the various areas, various states, various districts and all, so that we can correlate it somewhat clinico-epidemiological picture which is emerging, particularly with regard to the mortality, which is varying from state to state, and the type of attack or the virulence which we are observing in the community.
So that's kind of a broad protocol where we receive RNA from NCDC, we convert it into double-stranded cDNA, we do amplicon PCR to convert it into targeted amplicons from COVID genome, and then we make libraries and then we put it through Oxford Nanopore for sequencing. And on the parallel front, what we are also doing using Oxford Nanopore is working towards a protocol which can be taken to a field if required as well. So as we saw in the lab as well, that the machine which we are using at the moment is pretty much we can keep in a pocket and go, and with a very small portable computer attached to it, which can also do sequencing while we are driving in a car. So we are also working towards a technology development where sequencing can be taken to the site where it is required.
According to the experts, viruses change rapidly as compared to the other microbes. They are capable of changing their genetic makeup while jumping from one species to another, and also while jumping from one human to another. And this change or mutation is a serious concern. Fortunately, as per the information available so far, the genetic structure of the coronavirus found in India was 99.9% similar to the one found in Wuhan. However, some countries have reported some changes in the structure of the virus. Now, as this virus has reached India from various places and is also spreading rapidly from one city to another, genome sequencing of the virus becomes paramount for identifying and studying the structural changes. For this, the samples from different locations across the country are being collected and their sequencing is being done. This will not only help in finding the origin and changes in the virus, but will also help in developing a medicine or vaccine against the infection.
If we want to move into a domain of designing drugs and vaccine development, the sequence of the viral genome will be important to know that what part of the genome, for example, is consistent across viruses which may be targeted by drugs, which can also be taken forward for vaccine development, and this will all and that all sort of layered information we will get through the genome sequencing as well as the genomic surveillance, that what is the spread and the footprint of the virus across the geographical expanse of India, and how is the geographical expanse of the virus is linked with the genetic uniqueness of the virus, which we are looking into at the moment.
Council of Scientific and Industrial Research has so far given 53 genomes developed by IGIB to the International Institution Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data. It is also expected that the Council will also provide 450 extra genomes in the month of May. That also includes 104 genome sequences provided by IGIB. These genomes will play a crucial role in the fight against the virus and quick and complete eradication of this pandemic.
Well, that's all we have for you in today's edition of Science Monitor. Do tell us how you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions through email address. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar, 5th floor, Prithvi Bhavan, Lodhi Road, New Delhi, 110003. Well, we'll meet you again next week with new information and developments. Till then, stay safe and think scientifically.